So I was talking to my friend the other day about shoes, and they mentioned they have a pair that is pretty good and they like it, but the shoelaces keep coming apart. So at this point I'm thinking it's probably not the shoes or the shoelaces. It's probably a matter of technique, although I have seen some pretty bad shoelaces once or twice that were just very slippery, and that doesn't help anything, but that's probably not the issue. So I'm going to demonstrate here how I tie my shoes and some of the subtleties that go into it that could be a source of problem for people. Most people, they just learn as a kid, and at that point, once they have it, they're just completely on autopilot. And, that makes sense. That's fair enough. But sometimes their autopilot, they do some things that are less than ideal, which could be contributing to their shoes coming apart more often than they want. So I'm going to be using this Xero, Terraflex 2 shoe to demonstrate, because most of the shoes I own are black with black laces, so hopefully this will make it just a little bit easier to see what I'm doing with my hands. So here's how most people tie their shoes, or some basic variation of this. So you make this, step 1, and then step 2, like that. And that's it. And this is done, and this is actually correct. And the main benefit of this, besides being easy to learn and simple and all that, is that it's really easy to take apart. You just pull on these, and the shoes are open. So let's break down all that again. So we have step 1, which is the base knot, or just the base. It's also possible, by the way, to go through one more time and make like a really sturdy base. To be honest, I don't do that pretty much ever, but it is an option. So then you have step 2. There's a few ways to do this. There is, people make bunny ears like this, and then they tie them around. And then there's actually weird stuff. There's like the Ian method, where you grab, you just go, and it's just done in one move. I didn't practice it, so I'm not going to even attempt it. The way I do it is I just grab one loop like this. I think they call this around the tree sometime. And you go through like that, grab it on the other side, and just pull it tight. Okay. And there's also a part 3, but we're going to get to that at the end. Okay, now let me go ahead and show you doing this the wrong way. Kind of have to focus a little bit here so that I actually get what I want. Okay, so we make our knot, our base rather, and then we have our main knot like this. Bam. Okay, you can see that this is not correct because obviously I didn't tighten it very much, but see how this is turned out vertical? Yeah, that's how you know it's bad. Because we wanted this. This is how we let it go, and it goes vertical. So this is a sign that you have a problem. This could work, but it's much weaker, much less square, and much more likely to come undone. And the way I can demonstrate this too is just with this simple base knot here. Okay, so notice how here things are horizontal, and they're much stronger than if we were to do this. This is inherently much weaker than this, right? Because here you have a lot more material in friction contact with other shoelace material as opposed to something more like this. So now we're going to take a look at where the actual conflict takes place. And there's a few places where it can occur, and there's a few places where you can correct for it. So really the issue with this verticalness and misalignment, it's because of step 1, which is our base, and the way it interacts with step 2, which is the sequence in which you do step 2, and whether or not it's mirrored, basically. So the easiest way to fix this is to keep doing everything that you're doing except reverse or mirror what you do in step 1. So for example, for me, this is the correct way. The correct way is you're holding one in each hand, you put the left one over top, and then use your right hand to push it through, and there you go. And see, you can tell this is one way because here on the right, the strings, you can probably hardly tell on the camera, but the string's coming out of the bottom, and on the left, it's coming out of the top naturally. Now we can also do this the other way. Let's see, so it would be like this. Put the right one over top, use the left hand to push it through, and pull tight. And now we have the opposite situation. So on the right side it's coming out on top, and on the left side it's coming out on the bottom. And this is the same thing as I demonstrated earlier. And it's not that one of these is right or wrong. It's that you need to do the correct one, which is then going to align with the next steps that you already have in your muscle memory to do in step 2. Okay, so now let's look at step 2, which is the main knot. So I'm going to go this way for my base, and then, see, the natural motion for me to do this is to make a loop with my right hand, go around like this with the left, push it through, and see how my right hand's on the right, my left hand's on the left, and you just pull in this direction. And in this case, this is correct. I doubted myself for a second there because I keep doing them different directions. But this is now correct. So let me go ahead and purposely do this the wrong way, which I'm just going to do this part in reverse. Okay. So now if I do my natural motion in step 2 for the main knot, like this, I'm going to pull right and left, and I can tell this is not correct at this point. This is just not right, because if I let it go, it naturally wants to fall vertically. But here's the kicker. Why does it want to fall vertically? Because we want it to be horizontal, right? But it wants to go vertical because it wants to go this way horizontally. So this is actually, I tighten this kind of weird, but so really that's another way to fix it as well, is at that point you go, wait a second, this isn't right, and you can just flip it the right way, tighten it, and now you have the correct orientation again. And another way to do the same thing, see if I can get this, another way is, okay, so I started it the wrong way for me, and then I go like this, and I go, wait a second, this is going to give me the wrong direction. So you can just literally flip hands. I mean, it's the same thing, right? And just, okay, there we go. Turn it around. Now it's oriented correctly. And the very last bit I'm going to talk about is step 3, which is what you might call the double knot. Or it'll be a double knot if you combine it with the rest of the system. So you just grab each one like this and just simply tie it one more time. Wow, this looks not very nice the way I have it here, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't care how it looks. I just care that it functions. I will say you don't really want to get this super tight. It just needs to be light to moderate tightness, because that's all you need to keep things in place. With this, the shoes basically are not going to come undone. If you tighten the hell out of it, it's actually just a pain in the ass to be able to pull them apart. So, what is the drawback of this? Well, some people might not like how it looks. But also the other drawback is, you know how you normally just pull them apart and your shoes come undone? Yeah, you can't do that here. You can pull on this part, on this part, on this loop, on this loop. It's just not coming undone unless you specifically do this. You grab the two parts, open them up. That just takes, half a second. And from this point, it's just like normal. Pull it apart like normal. And so I pretty much always use the double knot now, and I have for a really long time, and my shoes just don't come undone, ever. I just do not have to worry about it. And I'm going to show you one more thing about the double knot. It's sort of like the ultimate trump card, because it overrides everything that comes before it. So even if I do this the incorrect way, okay, that's step 1, there's step 2. See how this way, this is not the right way, this wants to go vertically. At this point, I'm going to say, I don't even care. I'm just going to make a double knot like that. And it doesn't make a difference that I did the wrong stuff in the previous steps. This is just never coming apart. So there you go.